Hello and welcome to another video on the FA-06. We have already done these sound modify knobs, and we've also looked at the effects, and we encourage you to watch those videos so that you may learn about these wonderful mystifying effects that we have and the real-time control of them. It only remains now to make this video on the MFX matrix. Both the SNS and the PCM tones on the keyboard have the matrix feature associated with each individual tone. Let's go here and let's take a look at the tones, and let's find a tone. All these tones here are, these are acoustic instrument tones. There are some SNS. Here we go. We found some SNS tones. So let's just take one of them and let's just go to the tone edit. First of all, let's make it the tone. Let's press enter, and then let's select tone edit. And now we're in the tone editor, and we can turn on advanced mode. But let's go to the tab. That's the thing, is we're trying to find the tab that's marked MFX control. There it is, MFX control. You have the MFX and then you have the MFX control. In the previous video that I made, we looked at the matrix control, but matrix control is only part of the PCM tones. It's not part of the SNS tones. Let's make sure, let's just show you that. Although we notice the tabs that we have for the SNS tones as I scroll through them. That's the tabs that we have. If we go now to we need to find a PCM. There's some PCMS tones. Take any PCMS tone and let's go to that tone edit for that. And we have different tabs at the top. Different tabs at the top for the PCMS tones than for the SNS tones. And this allows, actually the PCM tones, PCMS tones, have quite a bit more that we can actually change. Because we have this matrix control, which was the subject of another video. But we also should have MFX and MFX control. So we see that we have additional tabs on the PCMS tones that we do not have with the SNS tones, but that all the tones feature our MFX controls, which we are going to learn about today. That's the subject of this video. The subject of the last video was the matrix controls. Alright, so what we'll do is, well, we can do it just as well here as with the other tone that we had. Clearly in the MFX tab, we have control over which MFX effect is selected for that particular sound. Right now it's on chorus. And of course we can scroll through a whole lot of them. We can go through the whole lot. That's the delay, so we're getting a delay on that. But what I'm saying is that selects our MFX, and we can come down here and then we can control all the various parameters that are controllable for that particular effect. So then what could possibly be the use of the MFX control mechanism? The MFX control notice it's organized very similar to the matrix control. That is, we have a source, a destination, and a sensitivity. And we can set up to 4 of them. So that means that basically we can control 4 things about this time control delay envelope, effect 40 time control delay. 4 parameters of that can be controlled clearly from the MFX control. Now our source is obviously the MIDI CC numbers, continuous controllers. We can select from any MIDI CC number here that we want to do the controlling, and the destination is going to be a number of parameters associated with this time control delay effect. So the destination is going to change for every single multi-effect. Notice that we only have a few here. We have balance, feedback, delay time, and off. So really there are only 3 parameters that can be changed for this multi-effect. And the sensitivity just says how much that MIDI controller will make an effect. We can either have it positive or negative. If we select it positive, then it means that an increasing CC number will give more of the effect. If we have it negative, then we get the reverse behavior. And we can set it up to a maximum of 63 or a minimum of 63. Okay? So even though we have 1, 2, 3, 4 possible parameters that we could program here to 4 different MIDI CC numbers, they're not 4 which we can deal with for this particular effect. Now, suppose I go back here now. Yes, let's go there. I go back here to my MFX tab and I change to another multi-effect. Let's say I'm gonna pick something really good. Let's pick something really good. What can we pick? Infinite phaser, that sounds wonderful. Alright, that's our infinite phaser. Now, when we go to the MFX control, our infinite phaser is at the top. And we come down here now, the source is going to remain the same because it's all the MIDI CC numbers. But when we look at the destination, what that MIDI number is actually controlling, now we have more to choose from. We have pan, mix, resonance, and speed. Right, so this one actually has 4 things that we can control. We can pan it, we can mix it, we can resonate it, and we can adjust its speed. So we could set each of those 4 to each of these 4 possible controls, and then we could choose CC numbers, and we could assign those CC numbers to our sound modify knobs. Then by moving the, let's get that here for you, let's make sure you can see that. Right, so we will just pick some CC numbers. We will move this down to our assign position. We will assign those CC numbers to these 4 knobs or any 4 knobs of the 6. And then what happens is when we access that particular tone, remember that this effect is associated with a particular tone. When we access the particular tone, what is the name of our tone? Let's see, JVEP plus, where we would have to save it in one of the user memories. But when we access our tone, all of a sudden our assignments, those knobs, those assignments will come into effect, and we can control 4 separate parameters of the delay effect, or sorry, our phaser effect in this case, our infinite phaser effect. We can control it with those numbers. So in a way, the multi-effects control is very similar to the matrix control, except that the matrix control allows you to control all the sorts of parameters of the various envelope generators, and so you can have 4 controls in either one. And as I said, in the case of the PCM, you can have 4 for your effects and 4 for your actual tone, you know, like the filter, the envelope generator, and so forth. So in actual fact, you get more customization with PCMS tones than you do with the normal synthesizer tones, what they call the virtual synthesizer, VA, virtual analog synthesizer engine, which is the SNS. So I hope that helps you to understand metrics control, MFX control. This was the first time I'm bridging the topic of MFX control. Well, maybe we could put one of the controls, set up one of the controls, and we could actually show you it in operation. So let's just do that before we wrap the video. We will pick a number here. We will set it to, what should we do? Set it to speed or resonance. Let's set it to resonance. That usually produces a good whoomp. And let's go up to maximum so that we can get a maximum effect on it. And then let's give it a CC number. Well, I don't know, what shall we pick a number? We'll go CC 85, which doesn't seem to have anything else associated with it. So we now can go exit from there, and all we have to do is set a knob over here now to be able to do CC 85, and we will be good to go. We'll be good to go. So how do we do that? Well, remember to set the sound modify knobs. You have to go to the menu, then you have to go to the system, then you have to go to where it says knobs. So you scroll across to where it says knobs, and then you come down here and you now want to set that to the same CC85 so that the numbers match. Quickly go here to CC85. Right, there you go. CC85 exit, and now we should be ready to play, and we should be ready to get our control from the knob. So I'll put it on a tripod and then play a little something for you. I'm constantly getting accused by my dear viewers saying that I do too much talking and not enough playing. They say, shut up and play. So here I'm just going to show you basically how this knob, which we just programmed, you saw us program the knob, right? See how it controls the phaser effect that we just had on the JV plus or whatever tone we had there. That's it, guys.